Hello, my name is Adolf Kaure, and we find ourselves here at the waterfront for today's episode of Erongo Talk. Today is Single Working Women's Day, and we have an awesome interview here as well, lined up on this show with Oliver Ahrens, who talks about Masked Africa. I'll also bring you the news, weather, and tides, as well as the Grumpy's Fishing Report. So hang in there. We'll be back right after this. It is now time for the news, and in our first story, the Erongo Red has announced that there will be no electricity tariff increases for the Erongo region. So the NamPower CEO, that is Fesor Bango, said that NamPower announced a 0% tariff adjustment in April 2020, and subsequently Erongo Red submitted an application to the Electricity Control Board ECB for a negative 1.6 tariff adjustment for 2020-2021 financial year. So the ECB reviewed the submission and decided to grant a weighted average tariff decrease of negative 1.6%. That is what the CEO said. So basically this tariff adjustment, that is the negative 1.6% decrease, is only for businesses, but the good news is for residents that there will be no tariff increase, so you can experience that is a 0% increase for your current electricity bill. And the good news as well for pensioners as well as low-income workers like domestic workers is that that they can apply to the Erongo Red office so that they can also receive a subsidy, that is so that their tariffs can, so when they buy electricity, they can actually get more for the money that they spend as well. So that is really good news. And our second story is a story from the acting CEO of NAMDOC, who has expressed his views on the current COVID-19 pandemic. So he was quoted as saying, EBH, with its large and long-serving local workforce, are extremely concerned by the effects and ramifications of the COVID-19 on the local community. So that was said by Herita Nankole Muyoba. So according to Nankole Muyoba, the company is concerned for the people and the greater Walvis Bay community, and it goes even deeper than taking proactive and responsible measures to protect them and prevent them from the further spread of COVID-19. So you can catch this story and more details on this story and more stories on our website, that is on www.erongo.com.na. And as you know, today is also Erongo Day, and we have a full page of the Erongo 24/7 in today's Republican. And one of our stories that is trending in the current supplement that is in the Republican is a story about masks and how they prevent the prevention of the pandemic. So with a COVID-19 pandemic on hand, face masks have become part of the feel to your pockets or everything there is routine. So there is a need for masks, and that was highlighted by the Masked Africa project. So more than 1,200 masks have already been manufactured and can be purchased according to a special price structure. The more masks you buy, the less you have to pay for them. So that is one of our stories that is in today's segment of Erongo 24/7, which is inside the Republican newspaper. So that was the news. Keep watching Erongo Talk, our community, your news. We'll be back right after this.
Today is Oliver Ahrens, the director of Masked Africa Namibia. Hi Oliver, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. And you?
I'm fine. So Oliver, can you tell us a little bit about where Masked Africa came from?
Well, Masked Africa was established this year in March in South Africa by one of my friends and a business partner, James Brown. Came up with the idea of creating an extra income stream with masks. Obviously, there's a demand for that. He's also completely in tourism, so obviously you can imagine that he's also struggling. And the Southern African countries are dear to his heart. He grew up in Botswana. He actually lives in South Africa now. He tours Namibia as well with his business. And conservation, anti-poaching, and community education is something that really lies close to his heart. And then he said, let's create something, and phoned me up and said, I need a leg in Namibia. Can you do this for me, Oliver? Does this seem like an interesting thing for you? And I said, well, within a few seconds, I'm in. Let's go and let's move forward.
Yes, yes. And can you tell us a little bit about what makes Mast Africa different?
Well, yes, that's where the whole thing comes in. We don't just sell masks. So obviously the demand is now high in masks, so we sell those masks. But from the sales, at least 25% of that goes back into conservation, anti-poaching, and community education in the country that the masks are made in. The masks are also made in the country, so Namibian masks that we sell are made in Namibia. We support the local community here. Again, we do not order them from South Africa or anywhere else.
Yes.
South Africa does the same. They have a company in South Africa. And then these companies are also usually women-run companies. So we're reiterating the point a little bit on women-run companies, women-only run companies that make these masks. And we're branching out to other stuff already, like buffs as well, and other clothing, because mask demand will dwindle in future.
Yes.
But Mast Africa will not go away. It will stay there forever, because we have that bigger vision and mission, which we will get to just now.
Yes, yes. Can you tell us a little bit about the organizations, not only that you are donating to, but the organizations that are making the mask? I believe they are community development projects mostly?
Yes, our one supplier in Namibia is the Ongula Academy, which sits in the north, in the Wambuland. So they've got an academy where they take women and children and have them make masks and souvenirs and stuff like that. So we thought and it's mainly women-based as well, and we thought that's a very good project to support. I've got a tailor maker in Swakopmund that also employs a few people that also make some stuff for me. So we work with multiple suppliers as well, or try to, not too many. And then obviously we've got branding that we put onto the masks, and I'm using a company locally in Swakopmund. That's for heat press printing, and the other side is the sublimation printing. We will use someone in Windhoek. But those are companies, again, it's local companies that we use, so the spin-off of what we do and what we sell stays in the country, stays in Namibia.
Yes, yes. And in terms of the profits that are going to animal conservation, there's a lot of focus on animals like rhinos and such, but Mast Africa has a broader scope. Can you tell us a little bit about the organizations that you are donating to in that sense?
Yes, so what we will do is we don't want to concentrate only on one specific thing. So we've got, obviously for poaching side in Namibia, we've got ISAP, which we can concentrate on to support the overall picture of anti-poaching in Namibia. We will do something with rhinos, but also the Giraffe Conservation Fund, which has been relatively newly established, which is quite interesting. And then obviously we've got our lions and our elephants as well. So we're trying to spread it a little bit. We don't want to spread it too thinly, but we're trying to get some other projects involved. Also new and upcoming projects and smaller projects. The main aim of us is we don't just want to support the big ones, we also want to support, there's a lot of smaller projects that people don't know of that also are a worthy cause to support, and that's also Mast Africa, to support those smaller projects with the foundation. Basically we call ourselves also a foundation. We are a business, yes, but we also have the foundation that does the grants and stuff to these charities or other partners that we want to partner with.
Yes, yes. And then can you tell us a little bit about, you just told us a little bit earlier, about the future of Mast Africa?
So the future of Mast Africa is, that's why we say we will not only do masks, we will obviously expand our brands that we will sell, and everything, the concept always stays. A part of the sales goes back into this conservation foundation, because with that we are also helping the countries, and we are helping our other businesses. I have a marketing business, James has a tourism business, so we're actually assisting that as well, and that's where that expertise comes together. We will do expeditions, we call them expeditions, where we will go out and take either masks, or we will take products and we will distribute them in the communities. We will educate the communities on, let's say, hygiene, for example, because hygiene and all these things can also help with other sicknesses and everything. And that's where the COVID-19 thing comes from now. I don't like to mention it, but that's where it comes from. We want corporates to buy masks, and then we sponsor these masks. That's where Mast Africa comes in. So there's a we call it a double whammy there, actually. So you're buying the masks, you're giving back to conservation, but we're also sponsoring these masks to communities that cannot afford them, or any other product that communities cannot afford. And also, upgrade schools maybe as an idea, or just help. That's what we want to do. Tap into these communities, rural and urban communities, and find these projects that we can support, and maybe create even our own projects.
Yes. So Mast Africa was founded in the COVID-19 pandemic and sprouted out of it. So do you have a message to the people, especially those who are struggling in this time? Do you have any words for them in this time?
Well, I'll keep it positive. The thing is, stay positive, be creative, find partners, work together, stand together, find people that can be creative with you, and stay positive. I know it is not always easy, but the only way forward is positive and together and unity. And yes, as you can see, we need to put things forward that can help us out of this pandemic, and create a better life for ourselves and people around us, and grow. We need to grow in our countries, and that we can only achieve by standing together. And I throw in the thing that I always say is, positive people build a country, not negative people. That's just how it works in life.
Yes. And lastly, how can people get involved if they want to, say, donate to Mast Africa, or they want to buy masks and donate that to lesser fortunate communities? How can they get involved?
So we've got a website, www.mastafrica.com. So we can, masks are sold online actually as well, so you can buy them online. There's also a page specifically for Namibia, so you can contact me on oliver@mastafrica.com.na. Even if you go to the domain www.mastafrica.com.na, you come to our main page. And our telephone numbers are on there. James as well for South Africa, Oliver for Namibia. We also have a Facebook page, Mast Africa, and also an Instagram page, so where you can follow us and find out more about what we're doing. And we will obviously also promote our expeditions and the grants that we give and the support that we give. We will promote out there, showing, being transparent, that we actually do what we promise to do, and not just talking around. So we're actually proving that we are going to do what we're doing and what we promise to do.
Okay, great. Thank you, Oliver.
Thank you for the opportunity. Appreciate it.
And now for the weather and tides. We had a high tide at about 5 minutes to 4 o'clock earlier this morning, and we also had a low tide at 10 minutes to 10 earlier this morning as well. We'll have another high tide that is at 20 minutes past 4 later this afternoon, and our last low tide will come at about 10:45 in the evening. And now for the weather. Walvis Bay had a sunrise at about 7:30 this morning, and the sun will set at the harbour town at about 6:30 in the afternoon. Today's maximum temperature will be 21 degrees Celsius, and the town will experience a wind direction of a south-southwesterly wind flow. Tomorrow they'll have a minimum of 9 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 18 degrees Celsius. And as for the rest of the towns in the Erongo region, Swakopmund will experience a sunrise at 7:30 in the morning. Or they did experience a sunrise at 7:30 in the morning, and their sunset will come at about 6:30 later this afternoon. The maximum temperature today will be 18 degrees Celsius with a southerly wind direction, and tomorrow they can expect a minimum of 10 degrees and a maximum of 17 degrees Celsius. Henties Bay will also experience a southerly wind direction with a maximum of 18 degrees Celsius as well today. Tomorrow they can expect a minimum of 11 degrees and a maximum of 16 degrees Celsius. Arandas, very warmer temperature today of 28 degrees Celsius with a wind coming from the southeasterly direction. Tomorrow they'll experience a minimum of 6 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 22 degrees Celsius. Usakos will have a northwesterly wind flow with a maximum temperature of 30 degrees Celsius forecasted for today. Their minimum temperature for tomorrow is a very, very cool 3 degrees Celsius with a maximum of 28 degrees Celsius. Karibib will have a northerly wind flow with a maximum temperature of 29 degrees Celsius. And tomorrow they will have a minimum of 4 degrees Celsius with a maximum of 27 degrees. Last but finally, Omaruru will have a temperature of 29 degrees Celsius today with a northerly wind flow expected in the town as well. The minimum temperature for tomorrow will be 4 degrees with a maximum temperature of 27 degrees expected there. So that was your weather and tides. And as usual on a Tuesday edition of Erongo Talk, our community, your news, we have the Grumpy's fishing report. And Grumpy reports that the fishing areas are still relatively restricted for anglers from the towns of Swakopmund and Walvis Bay. Carp catches have been somewhat less frequent this past week, he says, as the ski boats and jet skis, however, reeled in a few in the vicinity of Firkan Klip as well as Mile 6. So the shore anglers had less luck with carp from the beach and rather landed some halyun. White as well as black mussels were preferable bait used to catch the halyun at Mile 6, the salt pan, Witklipper as well as Mile 11. The Walvis Bay based anglers had much more luck fishing in a larger area than the anglers from the other two coastal towns. So Jackal Spits produced some pan-sized fish for the pot, and so did Popeye as well as Mile 68. Fishing in the northern parts were also a bit quieter, with some strong seas creating the dreaded side wash. It is advisable to rather try fishing in areas with reefs, kelp beds or other structures when the water is rough, said Grumpy. So this is usually helps with once your bait lies quiet or quieter, the chance is much better to hook a fish. That is his advice right there. However, it was a damper week for shark anglers. Two of the usual suspects, Clinton Barnard and Donovan Besaidenote, were fishing at the Mile 8 area using a variety of baits including mackerel, bonitos as well as mackerel. Clint was luckier. During the course of the week, he landed a massive 131 kilogram bronze whaler, while Donovan followed suit with a 85 kilogram shark. So these sharks are super strong with some feisty teeth, and one has to use nylon coated 7-strand stainless steel wire to their jaws, being so strong, and their teeth are so sharp, resulting in your line being bitten through all the time. After a few photos, the beasts are released into the sea again. That is what Grumpy reported. So the conditions for the upcoming week look great for some halyun fishing. It will be full moon and the tides will be stronger. Tight lines until next time.
Add us on Facebook and search for us on YouTube.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter.
Contact us via WhatsApp. Our daily show starts with the Afrikaans program Soggens met Shaal, perfect for the Afrikaans lovers.
Then it's time for the women's magazine program, The Mid-Morning Breeze with Olivia.
And for the youngsters and game fanatics, join Cody on the 3 to 6 drive. West Coast FM, your host at the coast.
And that is the end of today's episode of Erongo Talk, our community, your news. It was a pleasure having you in our company. And as you know, Erongo Talk is an extension of our brand Erongo 24/7, and we are very visible online as well. So you can catch us on www.erongo.com.na. That is our website, www.erongo.com.na. And on social media, we are also very present, as we are available on Instagram, Facebook, as well as on Twitter. Our WhatsApp number is 0811 7004040. I repeat, 0811 7004040. You can leave your news tips as well as your videos on that number. So, tomorrow, my colleague Irina Marie will be presenting, so you do not want to miss out on that one. Like I said, it has been a pleasure having you in my company. Do take care. Make sure that you stay safe. Adhere to all the lockdown measures. And like I said, keep safe. See you again tomorrow.